Now I want to shed light on your career at Marvel.
Okay.
And you mentioned a very important name because he also happens to be one of my favorite editors in chief in Marvel history, Jim Shooter.
Hmm.
So, what kind of a person he was? Was he like a similar mentor type of an individual like Len Wein? Was he more like the Paul Levitz type, or as John Byrne famously said, that the problem with Jim Shooter was that if he always wanted to fix things, even if there weren't things that required fixing. So the truth is in between.
Yes, the truth is always in between. Jim was a complex guy. I think he alienated a lot of people. He also helped a lot of people. He brought a lot of really incredibly positive changes to Marvel.
Right.
My relationship with him overall was a very good one. He brought me over there. He was a great teacher. He really understood story. He taught me a lot. And whatever disagreements we had later on down the line, when I weigh the good and the bad,
Yeah,
for me, the good outweighs the bad. It was overall, it was a very good experience that I had with Jim, and until it wasn't, and that was fine. But you know what? Here's the truth. A lot of that gets put on Jim. But you see over the years, there's two things. One is anyone that's in a position of power,
yeah,
whether they're the editor-in-chief, they're the publisher, by the very nature of that job, they're just going to alienate people.
true,
Half the people are going to love them and half the people aren't,
true.
And the other thing is human beings are complex. We're not all one thing or another. And, Jim was a lot of different things. And sometimes he had his hands too deep in the pie and he didn't give people enough room to breathe. But at the other hand, like I said, he brought so much to Marvel and really, really got the trains running on time there and really taught a lot of people and he had a vision.
Right.
At least I've worked for certain editorial types who have no vision. And they're going to sit down with you and tell you what's right and wrong with your story, and they don't really know anything. Jim, whether you agreed with his vision or not, I always respected that he had a vision.
Right.
He had something in his mind that he wanted, and it was his job to execute that vision. And I think sometimes he did it brilliantly, and sometimes he didn't. But if I was in that job, it would be the same thing.
True.
I would do it. I would be. Some people would like me. Some people wouldn't like me. It's just the nature of life. It's just the nature of life, especially when you're in power and you have to make decisions about giving someone work or not giving someone work, or this story is acceptable or this story isn't, or I want this changed and this is okay. Those kind of decisions are always going to alienate somebody along the way. It just is. It's just the nature of it.
Perfectly understandable, sir, and perfectly relatable for all of us. Now, you get hired, and did Jim give you Spider-Man from the get-go, or
no? The first regular assignments after these fill-ins that I got from Jim, my first one was the Defender. No, the first one was Conan. Believe it or not.
Okay.
I had to follow Roy Thomas on Conan. Here, Roy Thomas is doing this extraordinary work for a decade. Right. And here's the new guy here, right? Conan. And it was like so intimidating. It was just, and then the other book that he gave me, and he said, I know you like Doctor Strange, so he gave me the Defenders. And Defenders, I loved. Defenders because Defenders had a reputation at Marvel primarily because of Steve Gerber, of the Quirky book, the book where you could make it your own and do weird things. And so I just wrote the kind of stories that I wanted to write. And it allowed me to kind of exercise my writing muscles and do things that were different. And in a way, it was a rehearsal for my own creator-owned work that came soon after that. So I loved working on that. And then one thing led to another, and Captain America came soon after, and then, Ghost Rider, and then we were off, and I was, writing everything in sight from there.